People often ask me to step into the mindset of a collector, and as one myself, I get it. Mike Wolfe shelled out more than $6 million to end his marriage. That same year, his closest friend was let go from their TV series. Yet that's not what has fans furious. In September 2024, everything shifted irreversibly: a hospital stay, a stroke, and a final farewell that arrived years too late. Ratings have since plunged 92%. Online petitions are multiplying, with viewers calling for the show's cancellation. The real story behind American Pickers' downfall isn't what most assume. It's uglier, more tangled, and it all traces back to one man's back surgery at the height of lockdown. Frank Fritz didn't simply disappear from American Pickers. He crashed hard and fast while the rest of the planet was already unraveling. In March 2020, as the world went into lockdown, Frank was home, heaving heavy antiques the way he always had. This time, something gave way. He damaged his back so badly that surgeons had to cut him open, close 185 stitches, and implant 2 steel rods along his spine. This wasn't a minor repair, it was full spinal reconstruction. The timing couldn't have been worse. His long-term relationship had just collapsed. Emotional devastation collided with excruciating physical agony. Mike Wolfe later called it the perfect storm. The painkillers prescribed after surgery became the entry point. Overnight, Frank changed. Mike described it as watching his best friend morph into someone unrecognizable. With COVID silencing the world and the people in Frank's life, he was left alone, grappling with heartbreak and relentless pain. He started taking more pills, not to chase a high, but to dull the torment. By the time anyone noticed how far he'd fallen, addiction had already dug in its hooks. This wasn't only about the back injury. Frank had been battling Crohn's disease since his 20s, longer than most fans even knew he existed. Crohn's wasn't a side note, it was a constant shadow. Years of aggressive medications had weakened his bones, making the 2020 injury almost inevitable. Over the decades, he'd gone under the knife 17 times. In 2013, the disease grew so severe he needed a colostomy bag. Frank concealed it. He refused to let viewers or producers see him as anything less than tough. On camera, he grinned through constant pain, weight loss, and exhaustion. Off camera, he quietly self-medicated just to keep up the facade. When opioids arrived post-surgery, the stage was already set for catastrophe. He was used to managing pain in secret. At first, the pills felt like salvation until they became a trap. The addiction didn't stem from recklessness, it grew out of sheer survival. Tensions between Frank and Mike had been simmering long before the operation. As early as 2019, Frank noticed Mike handling more solo press. He was gradually sidelined. By 2021, Frank couldn't stay silent. In a candid interview with The Sun, he revealed that Mike hadn't once called to check on his recovery. They hadn't spoken in 2 years. Frank had endured one of the darkest chapters of his life, yet the person he expected to reach out never did. He felt erased. Mike didn't merely ignore him, he replaced him. By the time Frank learned he was off the show, Mike was already filming new episodes without a word. Frank had co-created American Pickers in 2010. Suddenly it was as if he'd never existed. That betrayal cut deeper than any scalpel. Then came the radio interview. Frank was finished holding back. He labeled Mike's public statement about his exit complete bullshit. To Frank, it was damage control. He claimed Mike hadn't said 5 kind words to him in 10 years. It was raw. Frank likened it to Steven Tyler abandoning Aerosmith, accusing Mike of hogging credit while treating him like a supporting act. Off camera, Mike called every shot, which towns to film in, which dealers to feature. Frank wasn't exaggerating, he said the show had swung 1000% toward Mike, and he was done pretending it was equal. The ultimate slap came later. After years of silence, Mike finally posted about Frank online. But Frank told friends it was hollow. The post only appeared because fans demanded answers. It wasn't concern, it was PR. To twist the knife further, Mike brought in his own brother, Robbie, as replacement. To Frank, this wasn't casting, it was Mike cementing total control. Frank called the post a revisionist history that painted Mike as the loyal friend instead of the one who vanished. In 2023, Frank suffered a massive stroke. speech became nearly impossible. That's when Mike finally appeared, visiting the care facility where Frank now lived under guardianship. Friends say the encounter changed nothing. Though limited in words, Frank made his feelings clear to those closest to him. Mike's visit was too little, too late. Frank had survived surgeries, addiction, unemployment, and public abandonment. Now, bedridden and barely able to speak, he had nothing left for the man he once called brother. Mike sat beside him, held his hand, and may have meant well, but one afternoon can't undo years of absence. Photos from the visit surfaced online, yet to those who truly knew Frank, they felt empty. He'd spent months recovering in isolation, far from cameras, far from the man he once considered family. On September 30, 2024, Frank Fritz passed away at age 60. Mike quickly posted a heartfelt tribute acknowledging their complicated past. Many fans saw right through it. The man who'd stayed silent through addiction, surgeries, and the stroke was now grieving publicly. Some called it genuine, others labeled it hypocrisy. The truth died with Frank. His final years were marked by pain, recovery, and estrangement. The feud ended not in reconciliation, but in silence. The collapse accelerated on December 6, 2021. Mike Wolf, the public face of American Pickers, finalized his divorce after 13 grueling months. Jody Faith, married to him since 2012 in Franklin, Tennessee, walked away with far more than memories. Court records spelled it out. Mike owed her $634,000 in alimony plus $5,278.73 for the marital estate split, over $6 million total. Though paperwork began in November 2020, Jody cited June 2019 as their separation date, 17 months earlier. All the time Mike had been filming on the road, perhaps oblivious that his absence was strengthening her case. They shared a daughter, Charlie Faith, just 9 years old. But custody wasn't the core issue. Asset division was. Of 15 properties, Jody kept the $2 million Nashville home and the North Carolina parcel. Mike retained the remaining 13 across Tennessee and Iowa, but the house paled beside the royalties. Jody secured 50% of post-tax royalties from the first 10 seasons for anything Mike earned before 2022. From January 2022 through 2026, she'd still receive 40%. The show aired globally, generating income long after broadcast. Now it was her revenue stream too. She also took JCM Investments, while Mike kept MRW Incorporated and Mossy Point Productions. The financial sting appeared in smaller, painful details. In December 2021 alone, Mike paid Jody $28,000, 1 month's 50% cut of season 10 royalties. This wasn't a one-time hit, it would continue monthly until 2026. The timing was brutal. Frank had vanished from the series in March 2020 and was officially fired in July 2021. The show's chemistry suffered immediately. Meanwhile, Mike's retail venture, Antique Archaeology, was faltering. Complaints flooded in about inflated prices and empty shelves. Even with 2023 sales of $903,000, it couldn't offset a $6 million settlement plus ongoing payments. Mike didn't wait for the divorce to finalize before moving on. By early 2021, months before the decree, he was publicly linked with Letitia Klein, a 44-year-old former Playboy and Maxim model, Harley-Davidson racer, ex-pro wrestling interviewer, and psychology graduate born in 1978, 14 years Mike's junior. Fans swiftly accused him of upgrading, especially while the divorce remained unresolved. Letitia had an 18-year-old son, Caleb. The relationship went public in April 2021, though insiders claimed it began earlier. Public reaction was harsh. In January 2022, right after the divorce, Mike removed Jody as registered agent for Antique Archaeology, a business move that also felt symbolic. The company's troubles deepened. Nashville store reviews mocked it as a glorified gift shop. A July 2022 BBB complaint accused staff of charging for an item, then refunding because it sold elsewhere for more. By April 2025, Mike shuttered the Nashville location, ending a 15-year run. It wasn't just a closure, it signaled a dying empire. The show fared no better. Season 27 premiered in July 2025 to a record low 390,000 viewers, down from Season 20's excess average of 723,000. The second episode scraped 536,000. The damage was irreversible. Frank's 2021 firing and 2024 death triggered mass viewer boycotts. Danielle Colby put it bluntly, "We miss Frank. We miss his laughter. We miss his sense of humor." Those words spelled doom for the show's dynamic. An October 30, 2024 episode, DIY DeLorean, drew just 442,000, unthinkable compared to 2012 peaks of 4.8 million. Even season 25's February 2024 high of 966,000 felt distant. The season 26 premiere, days after Frank's death, featuring rare Evel Knievel items, managed only 565,000. Not even iconic Americana could salvage it. Despite the collapse, History Channel renewed the series in April 2025. Filming for season 27 began in February, but fans revolted. Petitions to cancel flooded social media. "Cancel this show, it's a husk of what it was," one wrote. Another claimed it had ruined the antiques market. Once history's top reality series, American Pickers sank to sixth place by 2025. From a 2010 debut of 3.1 million and season 1 average of 3.8 million to under 500,000, that's a 92% drop. Without Frank's spark, the show was a shell. Robbie Wolf debuted in 2021, stepping into Frank's void. Mike's younger brother, born 1961, early 60s at the time, faced instant backlash. Reddit threads like "The Dirty Wolf's True Colors" called him cheap, accusing him of lowballing desperate sellers. Viewers missed Frank's warmth. Robbie's aggressive haggling and braggadocio over small wins grated. On-screen chemistry evaporated, banter replaced by stiffness. Ratings mirrored the discontent. Season 26 opened at 565,000, dipped to 463,000, then hit 442,000 for DIY DeLorean. A brief season 26 finale spiked to 760,000, January 15, 2025, owed nothing to Robbie. Mike closed a solo $15,000 slot machine deal. Fans credited Mike alone. Danielle Colby faced her own battles. In October 2022, an emergency hysterectomy for uterine fibroids sidelined her for 4 months. She underwent twice-weekly iron infusions and used burlesque to rebuild strength. Rumors of her death swirled. She returned mid-season 23. In October 2024, she had a facial tumor removed due to trigeminal neuralgia, pain so intense it radiated through half her body. Post-surgery swelling was severe, but pain dropped 90%. Doctors warned of recurrence. Fake death reports resurfaced in August 2024. Danielle quipped on X, "I'm pretty sure I'm not ing dead." By season 27, her screen time was minimal. Health absences had eroded her once central role. In a July 2025 Newsweek interview, she mourned Frank, "Huge loss, he held things together with wit. His absence killed the show's heartbeat." On September 12, 2025, Mike and Letitia cruised a Tennessee highway in his prized vintage Porsche 356. An SUV ran a stop sign. Mike swerved. The Porsche took the full passenger side impact. The car crumpled, windshield shattered, hood folded, metal screened. Vintage lap belts offered little safety. Emergency crews arrived within minutes. Mike drifted in and out of consciousness. Letitia was critical, airlifted to Vanderbilt. Her jaw fractured in 3 places, ribs and sternum cracked, 1 lung collapsed, spinal swelling severe. Discharged briefly September 16. She returned September 22 for complex jaw reconstruction, mouth wired shut for weeks. Speech, eating, walking all impossible for months. Her brain, miraculously, was unharmed. Mike arrived by ambulance, face bloodied, nose broken, deep bruises everywhere. The steering wheel snapped in half, a few inches more and it would have impaled him. Discharged September 13, he needed ongoing specialist care for wrist and knee. He posted photos of the mangled Porsche, a miracle they survived. Letitia remained hospitalized until at least September 24, Mike never leaving her side. Production halted. Season 27 had wrapped August 20, season 28 plans frozen. After 15 unbroken years, American Pickers faced its first true pause. Whispers followed. Some blamed Mike's 2024 burnout, divorce fallout, Frank's death, ratings crash. An unverified claim suggested he was speeding. Mike called the wreck a second chance at life. Earlier shocks compounded the chaos. On April 27, 2025, Mike closed Antique Archaeology Nashville after 14 years, citing family time in Iowa. But 2023 sales of $903,000 hadn't covered divorce bleed. Staff learned the day prior. A 2022 BBB complaint exposed double selling tactics. A November 26, 2024, gas leak closure felt suspect, reopening 2 days later for Black Friday. Ratings that fall hovered below 500,000. In July 2025, a glaring continuity error, Robbie and Jersey John arriving in mismatched vans, sparked 20,000 plus accusations of staging. Mike admitted pre-scouting but denied scripting. Fans mourned the lost spontaneity. What once felt like a genuine road trip now resembled a manufactured tour. The magic was gone. The numbers didn't lie. The fans never forgot.